Google saw the case today and just gave up. Anyway, yep. Please stay safe, everyone. Yep. Please stay safe. Yep. It's not too bad. Yes. So, and to be honest, right? We have gone through the discussion for the answers, and I do ask you to try to redo, right? And I would say if you did that, you should have some ideas what marks you get. Am I right? Okay, if you have did what I've told you, right, you should have a rough idea what's your marks around that. Okay, should be all right. Anyway, just give me a second. So for today class, any question you want to ask before we start for today class? For today class, we stop somewhere for the chapter 5, am I right? No, I think we finished the chapter 5. Yes or no, class? We finish all these things, am I right? Of course, I'm going to recap and redo because that days I know I just roughly, just a briefings, just like briefings, right? So any question you all want to ask before I go into that? Anyone? Okay, if no question, it's good. Okay, so perhaps before we start, I just recap what is important in your chapter 5, and hopefully you can recall what is the step for Buckingham-Pine theorems, right? So as last class, we do go through the dimensionless analysis chapters. Let me check. Okay, please voice out if you got question, please, right? Because when I minimize, I couldn't see what is going on over here. Okay, so in chapter 5, we learned about dimensions, and we also go through what is dimensionless analysis. In first part, it's simple, just a recap what your understanding for dimension, am I right? And you should know there's a 7 basic dimensions, or we call it the primary dimensions. So as I mentioned, this is the one very common. Mass, length, time, and temperature is the most common appear in most of the equation. But of course, there will be a change for electric current, amount of light, and amount of matters, which is your mole or whatever. Okay, so first part, we learned what is dimensional homogeneity. We learned how to prove that all your equations should obey the law of dimensional homogeneity. Okay, and that's why in this part, generally, I see Candela, I think of Yin. What is that? Anyway, so we prove that the question generally will be asked you to prove this equation is homogeneity, right? And then this also brings you the meanings. Why, when you solve a lot of different equations in the previous time, you need to make sure all the unit is consistent, because you need to obey your dimensional homogeneity. Okay, so once you obey this, now we come to the second stage, and this stage is teach you some non-dimensionalization of equations and why we need to do that, right? And I remember I explained to you the main reasons for non-dimensionals, for the non-dimensionalization, or we call it a dimensionless, because we want to do some application, right? When you want to scale down or scale up, you don't want to rely on any dimensions. That's why you come with a ratio, you come with a lot of constant value for that. And first method is the simple equation can be applied. So you know that this equation is rely on one dimension, which is meters, right? Am I right? Is that meter? Yeah, it's a length. That's why you know that when you divide by its own meters, you will get a dimensionless equations or dimensionless value for that specifics. And I do explain that in this case, we assume the Z star is Z over Z0. And you can, in fact, you can assume a lot of different value to make sure that's dimensionless. For example, Z divided by Z is still a dimensionless, right? But in this case, you ask the question asks you to assume Z star and T star. And from there, you modify your equation into the format they want. So this is the one we learned in the first part. And I hope you have solved the questions, right? When you see the question 2, this is what I'm referring to. The questions will always ask you, use S star for certain assumption, use Y star for certain assumption, etc. Okay, so that's why this is the main reason why you got a difference. That's why if the question didn't give you this kind of things, you can always come with your own assumption. That's why this come in a confusion. When you see a different answer between you and your peers or even my answer script, don't worry, because these dimensionals can be appear in a lot of different formats, right? The key things here, you need to prove that that is dimensionless. Then is fine. Okay, and following on that, we go through these methods. These methods invented by so-called Buckingham, right? And I explain why they want to do this. Because Buckingham realized all the application, all the engineering problems that needs, it will be much easier to formulate it if you're using non-dimensional equations. That's why they come up with these methods, method of repeating variables, or we call it the Buckingham pi theorem. So this is a reason where they came in. Okay, and they developed 6 steps to solve the questions. So can I have your just a remind for that? Can someone remind me what is your 6 step? It's good for your Buckingham pi theorem. Where's your first step? Recall, please. Without reference, of course. Where's your first step? Class?
The number of variables we have.
Number of variables. Okay. Number of variables. Not the variables, I will saw parameters. Yep, thank you. All the parameters. And we call it an n, right? Second step. Wait, second step. What is second step, please?
The common parameters we have, like length and time, these things.
Okay, so the keywords, I would say J. You remember the J? And it's a primary, primary parameters. So in these steps, you need to list down, for example, all the Z equal to L equal to meters, all the velocity, let's say, is liter per second equal to ms minus 1, all these things. In this step, you need to fully list down. And I would say, for these steps, the challenging part would be you need to make sure you're familiar with all these parameters. Okay, what I mean is that when you look at the questions, not all the times the question is just as simple. Give you a z, give you a t, give you a velocity, give you a g or whatever. Right? Sometimes the question can be complicated, like give you a density, give you a wavelength, give you a depth, gravity, surface tension, etc. So all these things, in fact, is the one make you nervous and confused. And if you ask me how to get this, you need to recap all your fundamentals. Okay, so the challenge part for this. Sorry, can you just mute your mic, please? Who is the one? Shriram, sorry. Thank you very much. Yeah. So this is the parts. For example, density. You know density is common, so it's all right. But wavelength, where is wavelength? Anyone? Where is wavelength? The unit for wavelength.
Meter per second hertz.
Meter per
Second
second hertz?
hertz.
No.
No, it's true.
Wavelength is meter, are you sure? I'm not sure. You go and find out, right? Go and find out, okay? So all these things you need.
Yeah, so it's meter.
Yep, is meter, okay? So oscillations, of course, times, and a lot of things, right? When you try the question, you figure out there's a lot of things, like surface tension, okay? Like your viscosity, mu, like this is common, right? So the force, velocity, area, etc. So all these things will come in place. Okay, make sure you know where's the parameter for that. So second step is your main parameters. So in this case, if you got L and T, of course you got J equal to 2. Okay, so what is your third step?
Subtract J from N.
Subtract T from N.
Yeah, J from N.
J, okay.
Find K.
So
Find
yeah,
K.
find the K, which is your number of time. Okay, how to find this? Of course, you can use the formulas. Use the formulas K equal to N minus J. So you will, this case, if let's say this is 5, J is 2, you 5 minus 2, you know you have a 3 pi. So you have a pi 1, pi 2, and pi 3, right? So what is your fourth step? Anyone?
Choosing the two common variables, or
Choosing.
the three variables we're gonna have.
Okay.
The three variables, the K.
So I would say you need to remember only is repeating parameters. Okay, the keywords is you're gonna choose a repeating parameters. So the question comes in, how many and how much do you need to? How many and which one you need to select? So the key things I mentioned to you is, so how many to select? Which one do you need to refer?
K,
J.
the constant K.
K or J?
J.
K.
How many to select J?
Yes, you need to according to the J value and select the number of repeating parameters. Just show you that slide. Okay, don't make mistake for that. Else you will start somewhere there. Okay, choose the J repeating parameters. So that means you need to choose how many of J, you're going to choose how many of repeating parameters. And the question come in, which one to choose? Right? So in this case, as I mentioned, if you recall, in this case, we got Z, ZO, WO, T, and G. When we're talking about selecting the repeating parameters, one thing to highlight here, which I forgot to tell you last class, is obviously Z and ZO is repeating, am I right? So either of these must be chosen. So when you left out another tree where you have L over T, T or L over T squared, whatever, you can choose either of these. And normally my philosophy would be choose the easiest one. Generally what I do is choose the easier one. Okay, but of course in your answer they choose the WO and ZO. So as I explained, this one, don't worry if you choose a different one, because at the end your result will be similar. Okay, so choose the J value and choose the confirm repeatance. So which is your Z, and choose any of the simplest one. You can go for that. So fifth step is writing your pi, am I right? So you know that I got 3 pi. So how to write a pi? Can you recall? How to write a pi? Pi 1 equal to, write 2 brackets, A1 and B1 for this repeating value. Repeating value 1, repeating value 2. And put this, what is not repeatance. And you know that I got 5 parameters. So of course, you will go back to this, which we call that. Put the first one not repeated, the Z, the T, and the G. Right? So this is the process how we write your pi. And don't worry if you select a different repeating parameters. That's why you need to very clear what you are doing. Don't get nervous or whatever. If you select a different ones, what will be different? It's only your brackets item will be different, am I right? So if you select a different ones, you just write the things accordingly. And at the end, you still need to do these formulations to get your value. Okay? So for this case, you will have, and as I explained, right, you need to write down all the dimensions into that. So it's a L1, power 1, A1, and B1. Your intention is to make it to become dimensionless, right? So if you want to make it dimensionless, you will have a L0, T0 at the end. Use the power of, for the L case. So I will rewrite everything. For the L case, write down your L. Consider only their powers. Consider only their power. So you will have 1 plus A1 plus B1. L power of 1, L power of A1, and L of B1 equal to 0. So get the first equation. When you got the T, you will have the T equal to negative A1 equal to 0, and your A1 equal to 0. Once you solve this, you should be able to know my B1 equal to negative 1. Am I right? So substitute back to your equations and redo all the things. You should be able to get your answer. Right? So can everyone understand this step? Anyone got question for this step? Please ask during the class. Yep, wavelength, okay. Yep. For this part, everyone is understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Make sure you understand class, because yesterday class, even though during the class I keep mentioning, are you guys understand? Can you follow me? But anyway, after the class, still quite a number of students come to PM me. How do I find this 1 plus A1 plus B1? Okay, still processing. Yup. So that's why I make it clear to you. You don't need to process. You just need to know, right? Because of the power, L power 1, your WO is L per T A1s and LB1s. So to understand what is your power value, you need to consider your L1 plus A1 plus B1 equal to 0. So you write the first formula. And second, when you consider the T, my T is L over T. That's why it should be T negative 1 times A1, right? So it become negative A1 equal to 0. So you know A1 is 0, substitute back, your B1 is negative 1. So from there, you know what is your power value, right? So after you get all the power value, don't forget to substitute back to your original equation.
Sir,
So,
can you see again how you got the A1 is equal to 0?
okay. So that's why please ask me during the class. Okay, I repeat again and again. If you're not sure where this thing come from, always give me a ask. Okay, so just start from here. L1 L over T A1 LB1 equal to L0 T0, right? As I said, the main reasons we want to make the equations to be dimensionless. So you know that my L must be 0, T must be 0. Until these steps, can you follow me?
Yes, sir.
Yep, no question, right, for the whole class? Okay, so I know that. So when you look at this, it's a times, am I right? Recall your mathematics. So for the L, I know that is 1 plus A1 plus B1. And for the T, because T is 1, when you bring it on top, is T negative 1 with A1 equal to my LO T L0 and T0. Until these steps, can you follow me?
Yes, sir. Now I understand why A1 is equal to 0. I understand now. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so
And
this is the thing we look at. You equal the 1 plus A1 plus B1 equal to 0. First equation. Negative A1 equal to 0. Second equation. You should be able to solve these two equations, am I right? Do I need to show you how to solve it? Hi class.
sir, one thing. So in case, so like my solution might not be the same with the one you have. Like this thing is all about assumptions. So maybe we cannot say that all the solutions will be the same.
Yes, exactly. So that is the things tricky about this. So if you choose a different repeating variables, right? Of course, all these calculation will be different. Am I right? So don't get nervous, or you shouldn't get nervous because you are not comparing your answer with anyone. Am I right? During the examinations, you just need to be confident what you are doing. Okay, make sure you don't have any errors for this calculation, and you should able to get the same answer at the end, regardless what is this.
I have a question, sir.
Yep.
So you said the repeating parameter, whatever this is. Okay, about the repeating parameter. You said now we are using the W0 and Z0, right? And then we can use other one, right? The other
Yep.
is, for example, like what? Or we can use the other parameter. Like
Yes. Of course, the Z or Z you won't choose because yeah, you can use a Z, ZO from here. You can choose any of this, Z, ZO, WO, TG, any of this. But of course, the Z is a mixture repeatance parameter. You need to choose either of these.
So if sir choosing, there's no sir saying like because you want to follow the example, like if sir want to do it, sir will choose which one is easier.
If you ask me, I will choose the L. Of course, this one I will choose either one. Z or ZO, I will choose this. I will choose the T.
Z or the T.
Yep. The main reason, I mean, at the end, your equation is still the same. Do you get what I mean? Okay. Let me show you. If I choose ZO, if I choose the ZO and T, so my pi 1 will become like this. Already chosen, right? So you have a ZO last one is G, right? So what will be the difference over here? All these summations will be different. That's why you would expect 1 plus A1 plus B1 equal to 0. It's not going to happen in the same way because you've got a difference power, am I right? Do you get what I mean? So pi 1 will become, Z will be your L. This one will become your L, A1, and your T will become B1. So you become 1 plus A1 equal to 0 for my L. And then my T1, T will become B1 equal to 0. So you get the answer.
Okay.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. Until here, get it. Maybe just need a bit like, maybe other than this question, need to try lah.
Yeah, that's why later I'm going to give some times. You try the question, you know what I mean, okay? Then after you try the question, you should know what I mean. And the tricky part would be, so once you're able to come with this process, in fact, you're almost done because you will get your pi 1, pi 2, and pi 3 for all the dimensionless condition, right? Step 6 is to put everything in. So the question come in, how do I know I can put in this way, right? Because if I didn't show you, I need to put the answer in this way. How do you know I can put in this way? Am I right? So the questions, when it comes to the 6 steps, there are two conditions. Steps. There are two conditions. One is a proven question. One is no need to prove. Just let me know the dimensionless equation or whatever. Sorry, dimensionless. Right? So if the question asks you to prove the equation, you need to rearrange all these things to fit the format they want. Just for example, later you are going to test the question on 2. Use the Buckingham Pi theorem, prove that this is the thing. You need to make sure the final formats appear in here, even though the question gives you only this function. So this is the first proven question. If the question didn't ask you to prove, just like the question 4, rewrite the relation in a dimensionless form. You can write your equation in the form of pi 1 equal to function of pi 2 or pi 3. That means this is their relationship, but I don't know what is the exactly formats I can put in, because there's no way for you to know, am I right?
Sure. So for the number 2, that is just dimensionless, we can just keep it in any form we want, like no need to simplify.
Yes,
We can
so that's why if a dimensionless question asking, just ask you to put everything in a relation or whatever. This format you can write whatever pi you find, they're in a relationship with pi 2 or pi 3 because you don't know what exactly form. This is what I try to mean. But if the proven question, generally, they will give you the final format, just like this. Prove me your equation is WE equal to rho V square L over, this is surface tension units, or this square root, or any form, half of it or whatever. So you need to do some modification to make sure you can comply with this format. So when I talk about the modification, what I means, you can do a lot of 1 over whatever, or times 2, or times 1.5, as long as they are not changing your dimension, that is fine. You get what I mean? Because, for example, I give a very example. Yep, pressure coefficients. Through the Buckingham pi theorems, how possible you can know my question is got 0.5 over there? There's no way, am I right? Because the Buckingham pi theorems only able to let you know my dimensions calculation, but not the actual calculation. Do you all get what I mean? Yes or no, class?
No.
Okay.
No.
So when you look back these questions, right? You have nowhere to know there's a half over here if I'm not giving you, am I right? You got only pi 1 equal to this, pi 2 equal to this, and pi 3 equal to this. This is the final format dimensionless equation I know. That's all. Don't look at the answer first. Pi 1, pi 2, and pi 3. So if I didn't tell you my final format is in this form, will you able to know there's a half over there?
No, we wouldn't know that.
Yep, that's why this is the thing I want to highlight. In Buckingham pi theorems, there are nowhere for us to know what is the value, what is the arrangement, or how the formulas look like, unless the question asks us to prove it. What we can have is only understand that this is a relationship of all the parameters. When you arrange in this way, you will get the dimensionless equation. So this is the information we can know. In case you want to put in a where, you must follow the questions. For example, question 2. Prove me your equation in this way. So you can rearrange that. Okay? Anyway, don't worry. Now, get your paper and pen. Take 10 minutes of your time. Try the question 2. Prove to me, please, now. And after that, you should understand what I'm trying to say over here. Is that all right, class?
Okay, sir.
Okay, yep. So I'll be coming back in 10 minutes. So please get ready your paper and pen to solve it. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Sorry, I was away just now. So any questions? Are you all still trying? Follow the steps and step by steps, and don't get nervous if you face any issue. Just follow the steps. Be confident on that. You should be able to solve it. Okay. So in the meantime, anyone start? Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir. I'm
Yeah.
looking for the unit of viscosity.
Okay. So that's why bear in mind in the examinations, yup, in the examinations, there's nowhere for you to find the viscosity formulas, right? That's why you need to build your fundamentals strong. That's the only way. And if you ask me where to get it, I can only say that get yourself with these commons like viscosity, like surface tension, like all the velocity, density, force, all these common uh, parameters. Get ready with that. So because you don't know what the question will ask you, and there's nowhere for you to check, am I right? So Newton second. Yep. Anyway, yep. Just solve it, and then should be fine. Okay. So I will highlight that the common mistakes. A common mistake is quite a number of students couldn't able to finish the step 2 and then they give up. Okay, but what I can tell you, please don't do that because all the step, even though I know the step 2 is very important, if you get the step 2 wrong, to be honest, it's hardly for you to score well for step 3, step 4, and even step 5. So please make sure you know well the basics. That's the first thing. Second, if you really don't know, you scratch your heads and you try to figure out what is that, but you still couldn't get it. Don't worry too much. Just continue what you can. Don't leave it empty, right? Because when you continue the step 3, you know I'm using k minus j or whatever. There's still some marks for the working steps, right? And I know you understand the things. Perhaps you can't get the full marks, but of course you still grant some marks from there. Okay, so my advice is don't leave it empty. If you leave it empty, there's something out of my control. I don't know what I can do to help you, right? So keep on writing until the end, then it should be fine. Okay, so continue for that. So accept the viscosity. Anyone pass through this and you get stuck for the next step? No. Okay, and maybe just let me highlight another common mistake. Even those, not to say common mistakes, is well-known mistakes, right? I know you don't think that it wouldn't happen, but somehow it's happened. Is when you talk about those formulas k minus j, right? Even though you know you are using n minus j, 5 minus 2, somehow you still able to make a mistake over here. That's why you stuck for whole question. Perhaps if you use 5 minus 3 and then become 2, and then you figure out where can I get my 2 pi over there, then you will get stuck to step 4. And even though I've seen some question, 5 minus 2 equal to 2, or 5 minus 3 equal to 3, or whatever. Then when you come to the step 4 and step 5, you start, where can I get the full pi for this kind of case? So please make sure your calculation is correct. Okay, yep, sorry, any question?
Yes, sir. For the n, it is always the number of variables we have, right? So in this case, this is 4.
4 or
The
5?
n is, it should be 4, right?
Why? I don't know. You do it? Is
Okay.
why is 4? Let me see. I forget the
Because we
questions.
have 4. Okay.
How about RE? So, okay, first question. Shall it 4 or 5? Give me a vote.
So it's 4, right?
That's why I want to see a response from the class. Can you give me a words? Is 4 or 5? RE do have any units? Yes. RE don't have any units, that's right. So do you need to consider RE? Yep. Yep. Even though, yep, the answer is 5, right? Even though your RE is dimensionless, but you still need to consider them as one of the parameters, am I right? It's just this is the dimensionless parameters. Okay, so carry on for that. And anyway, just try first. Anyway, I'm going to share you the answer later, so don't worry. But I want you to know tricky parts of this, even though the process seems very simple, right? Yup, I is dimensionless, it's no issue. It seems very simple and seems very, but students' nature tend to, when you see something not familiar, you will get stuck. But to be honest, the process still going as same, right? So please go in to work on that and it should be fine. Okay? So do you need more time to solve it or you want to go to the answer together? Are you all still doing class?
Yes, sir.
Are you? Yep. How about others? Are you still working on that? Perhaps I give you another 3 minutes. Is that enough? And just to highlight a beauty for this, right? Just for information, for this kind of question, generally we carry a lot of marks. What I mean a lot of marks is really a lot of marks. Perhaps for these ones, can go up to 15 to 20 marks for one question. So it might be very easy to score the whole thing, or it can be very easy to lose the whole thing. So please be careful when you solve this chapter question. Okay? Because it will carry, because all these carry a marks. All these things carry a marks from your step 1 up to step 5. All these carry a marks. So don't leave anything empty. Okay? So I give you another 3 minutes, right? And I will come back with the answers. So, how many of you able to do it? Start. Yep. No worry, it's fine. I expect that. That's why I want to hear from you all. Where do you start? That's more important. Okay, so just now, first common mistake, you don't know what's viscosity. Now it's not a test, you're able to find that it's good. So second, you start at you don't know how many n parameters, right? Step 5, start. Uh, why you start at step 5?
So just getting the formulas, I just need maybe some more time to get through
Okay,
this.
fine. That means it's not start, but you need time for that. Okay, but okay. So iron hole. May I know where do you start? Or Gerald? Can I get some feedback so we can learn throughout the class? Not only I'm for sure the part you start is the uh, most of our classmates will start at the same place anyway. The sum of proof P1. Why it starts? You get all zero, am I right? You able to get all zero? Oh, just to start to sum them. Okay, anyway. So for the sum, for the pi ones, you get all A1s, B1s, and C1. Is that C1? I couldn't remember the answer. Anyway, you got all the things equal to zero. And you got only RE, am I right? Perhaps I'll share you the answers. So perhaps you can try again later, right? So I'm going to share the answer. Oops, where's my answer? Okay. Okay, so can I go through the answers first? And then you take your free time to redo and hopefully to solve all the others questions. Is that all right? Yes or no, class?
Yes, sir. That's better.
Okay, good. So first, you know that, of course, you need to know this is a function of your formulas, right? And then you need to know this is 5. Don't ignore this, even though from start, you already know this is dimensionless. Don't worry, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to consider 5 things at the first step. Second step, you need to write all your dimensions. And you know that my RE is dimensionless. No dimension there, empty. Don't get stuck, don't worry. Keep going on. Your density is ml negative 3, velocity lt minus 1, your L is L, and this is the thing, viscosity. Make sure you know where's the viscosity, right? ml negative 1, T negative 1. So from here, I know that my 5 parameters will consist of m, L, and T. So I know my J equal to 3, m, L, and T. Is that all right until these steps? Until steps 2, is that all right? Class?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so no one start over here, right? Okay, please voice out to me if you are not sure until this step or whatever, right? And again, as I said, don't worry if you delay the class or whatever. Just let me know if you don't know what's happening for this or whatever, okay? So third step, I know I need to look in for my repeatance parameter, not the repeatance, sorry, for the pi, number of pi. So it's k. I know it's using my 5 minus my 3. I know that I will have 2 pi only in this case. Okay? I only know I will have 2 pi in this case. Now, from there, I need to know that I need to select my repeating parameters. Am I right? In this case, my j equal to 3. I need to select 3 repeatance parameters. So in this case, I have select row VL. This is what I select, right? But don't worry if you select different ones. I believe once you do the calculation, it will be the same. Okay, don't worry on this. So until this step 4, are you comfortable for that?
Yes, sir.
Others, please, can I get some response for those who are not?
Should be fine, sir.
Yep, just let me know. Just stop me. I mentioned again, right? Because I don't want after the class to come to me, I have no chance to let everyone know what is the common mistakes. That's why I don't prefer, I'm not to say I don't prefer personal consultant, because I want to make use this kind of information to share throughout the class. Everyone can learn. Okay? So now repeating parameters, everything is done. Now comes to step 5. You need to know I need to write 2 pi, am I right? I know pi 1 equal to RE, put in all the repeatants, have A1, B1, C1. Okay? And your pi 2, put under your mu, A2, B2, and C2. Write down this first. So when it comes to the equations, the ones not repeating is RE. So RE has nothing, right? RE has no dimensions. Don't worry, just put RE. So you got the ML negative 3, LT negative 1, and L. And you need to prove that MLT is dimensionless. So this is slightly different from the previous example because previous got only 2. But anyway, no matter 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, your intention is to make it dimensionless. So make sure all the dimension must be equal to 0. So that is our objective, am I right? So from there, you start the calculation. M power of A1 equal to 0. You know my A1 equal to 0. Negative B1 equal to 0. So you know my B1 equal to 0. And after calculations, I know my L also equal to 0. That's why I get all these things equal to 0. I get my final pi 1 equal to RE. Don't nervous, right? It's common. I mean, as I said, you can get any kind of value in this. It can be happens for anything. Don't get nervous and don't get stuck over here. Just continue on that. So I know that my pi 1 equal to RE. So is that clear until here? Okay, so no questions. Now start to my pi 2. Your pi 2, of course, you need to do the same things. And I know these things is based on your capability of the mathematics, right? So take your time to do that. Okay, so of course, make sure when you consider M, you consider all the M, you consider L, and of course, please write nicely. I know my handwriting here is not good, but if you can't, please write nicely so you can always double check there's no mistake or whatever. Okay, if you write very messy like me, perhaps you can easily have some mistakes. And for example, -1, +1, all these kind of simple mistakes is not worth to commit. Okay, so don't lose this kind of marks. It's not worth at all. Okay, so once you solve the mathematics, you know that my A1, B1, and C1 is -1, -1, -1. Put it back to your pi 2. You get your mu pi 2 equal to mu -1, -1, -1. So this is your final format. So as I mentioned just now, if the question asks you to prove, okay, so now you got the answer now. Pi1 equal to RE. Pi2 equal to mu over rho VL. Am I right? Yeah. So, oops, what is this? You know that my pi1 equal to the function of pi2 in this case. Okay? Yep. Unless, because this, in fact, if you get this, the question almost comes to the end. You just need to make sure the things you get is right. But come to the step 6. If the question didn't ask you to prove, okay, then you can put in this format. So your RE will be in the function of mu over rho VL. Okay, but in these specific questions, the question asks you to prove it RE equal to rho VL over mu. So this is the part I mentioned. When you do this kind of things, can you see that your pi2 is overturned? So don't worry on that. You can always do a lot of RE equal to 1 over pi2 of a level. Overturn it because it's not going to change your dimensions. Am I right? So it become rho VL or mu. So that's why you prove your answer. Okay? Is that clear?
Sir, one question
Yeah.
regarding the last step. When we get the 2 or 3 pies, like what should we do with them? Like, should we multiply them or add them? Like, I'm a bit confused. What should we do with them?
Yes, that's the thing. So if you got pi2, pi3, or pi4, if the question didn't ask you to prove it for the format, your answer will be pi1 equal to function pi2, pi3, or pi4. Is that clear? This way. For this one, if the question not asks you to prove it, you're all right for this?
So in case not asking, we say pi1 is equal to pi2. That's it.
No, I mean, if the question didn't ask you to prove for any of the final formats, you can always write in terms of pi1 is in the function of pi2, pi3, or so on, or whatever, depends how many pi you have. And then you just need to write RE equal to the function of mu over rho VL, and then your second pi3 or pi4 value into that. Then you close case. It's all right. That's your answer. Okay? But if the question asks you to prove it, for example, here, oops, this one. So, in fact, your GR probably, just my guess, is one of your pi1. And perhaps beta delta TG is your pi2. Or your L3 is your pi3. Rho 2 is your pi4. Or mu2 is your pi5. For example, in this case. So how to put them together is based on what the final format you have. So you just need to prove that, oh, so my pi1 equal to pi2 times pi3 times pi4 divided by pi5. So that's my final answer format. How to arrange is purely based on what the final format they want. So is that clear?
So we can say we can do anything with the pies we get.
Yes.
Not.
So it depends. That's why, as I said, the pi is only find you the dimensionless format. How to arrange them is purely based on the proven formulas. If this one is not given, there's nowhere for you to arrange. you can only write in terms of the function as I told you just now. But if the question given use the formulas, you need to arrange according to the formulas. So is that clear?
Yes, sir. So in case they ask us to prove, we have to use the pi's according to the formula
Yep.
given.
Just like this
And
case.
if not, just the function, that's it. Just
Just
write
like this
pi1
case,
is
yeah.
equal to function.
Yep, just like this case. If the question is not given, I have nowhere, if the formula is not given, I have nowhere to know that my pi need to put 1 over pi 2, am I right? Is a pi 1 equal to 1
Yes,
over pi
yes.
2? Because I need to prove
So we
this.
can say, sir, so we can say that in case there's nothing to prove, the math, the work ends at step 5, and for step 6, we just write pi1 is equal to function of this and that. Done.
Yes, so this is another examples on your examples. Uh, later you try. So I get my pi 1 t, pi 2, and pi 3. The question didn't ask me to prove. So what I can put is only in this format. The function of.
Sir, there are some questions in the chat. Maybe you can.
Okay. Pi is not always 3. What do you mean?
I think he means the pi 1, pi 2, pi 3.
Pi 1, pi 2, and pi 3. Yes. So what's the problem for that?
Yeah, in your example, you said that there is pi 4, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I just show you the examples. It might be at pi 4, don't get surprised, right? It's not necessarily stop at pi 3. It's purely based on your step. So don't be so static, right? If if I didn't teach you there's no pi 4, doesn't mean there's never exists. For example, in this case, you got only 5n, but just let you know, last year question, we got 7n. Okay, we got 7n, and you got about 3 repetition. So once you got 3 primary, that means you got 4 pi. You need to write 4 pi. That's why these are main reasons I always encourage all the students. Don't memorize all these things, but memorize the steps and memorize the process. Because this process shouldn't change. No matter how many do you give me. You want to give me 10 and I just follow the step I'm using, I still able to get the answer. Do you get what I mean? Yep, and don't get
Yes, sir.
surprised on that. This is a 20 marks question, right? It's a 20 marks questions. Is you should expect there's some challenge, to be honest, right? Okay, but anyway, the things I highlight is familiar yourself with all these steps. If you get it, I don't see anywhere that can stop you. No matter I give you how difficult a level, nowhere can stop you. Okay? How to divide how much pi? Oops, I mentioned that, right? How to divide how much pi is based on your step tree. Using your n minus j, you should know how many pi do I need to write. Can you recall that? Yep, yeah, so that's why these are key things. Get yourself familiar with these steps. If you get it, believe me, no matter what kind of question is that, you can solve it. Of course, subject to don't get mistakes for all these simple maths. And don't think you won't do
Sir,
that. Yep.
one thing, like I went through chapter 4 as well, but seems this one is easier than chapter 4.
Yep.
Like chapter 4
To
is
be
a bit
honest, yes.
tougher.
To be honest, I can say that is the whole subject. My personal feelings, this is the must score 20 marks, and uh, there's nowhere you can score it, right? And last year, I'm really happy to see right? Almost 100%, not to say 100%, 90% something. They do it well, right? Even though the question I give 7n and you need to write 4 pi, and that's a one question, 20 marks. I can show you the last year questions. Past year, okay. Okay, last year questions. Over here. TA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6, sorry. So you need to use the Buckingham pi theorems to describe these Taylor numbers. So this is the thing. You need to write, and if not mistaken, there's a 4 pi or 3 pi. I couldn't recall. I don't know the answer yet. Okay, anyway, so that is the thing. Haha. So if there's 2n, how can I give you 20 marks? Right? Then will be 2 different questions. Okay, so I think that's all. So just answer your questions. Yes, the test 2 we schedule on 26, no changes. It's still the same times, 8 to 9:30 p.m. I stick to just like your test 1. And of course, 30 minutes as far for submissions. Oops, where's the reason? But when come near, almost come near to the examinations, perhaps, because I don't want to make it in the weekends, okay? Because normally I do respect, even though you are students, you still need a family times or whatever, right? So I still choose to make it on Monday nights. Everyone should be able to make it. And Muhammad Zazat, can you just write to me? What is the reason for that? Okay. Just write to me. Let me think of any alternative way for you. Okay. So for others, I think that's all for today's class. So, oops, I close this first. Please spend some time solve all these questions. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 1, 3, and 4. 2 I already briefed to you, right? And I will share you the answer later on. And again, the chapter 4 questions. So next class, I will go through, so we finish the chapter 5. That's all. We finished the chapter 5. But what I would like to say is perhaps next week, I will go to chapter 6 first. Okay, I will go to chapter 6 and let's finish up everything. I will spend more time for the recaps. Okay, because I know you all need more exercise or whatever. I will spend more time on the recaps on all the chapters, especially chapter 4 and chapter 5 first, because I want to prepare you well for the test 2. So for next class, I will start with chapter 6, analysis of pipe flow. And believe me, chapter 6 also not very difficult, because if you're familiar with chapter 2, 3, and 4, chapter 6 is just additional information. And I would say that the key chapter for these subjects is chapter 2, 3, and 4, which you need a lot of thinking, a lot of application, and that is okay. Or if you haven't taken fruit labs. Oh, okay, so what to do after getting pi 1 and pi 2? So after you get the pi 1 and pi 2, is your step 6, am I right? So as I explained, right? So again, please ask me when you don't understand, okay? Don't hesitate. When you get your pi 1, pi 2, and pi 3, so as I explained, there's 2 ways. Either prove the equations into certain formats. So you rearrange all your pi. Or you just can write the function of your answers. For example, your pi1 equal to the function of pi2 and pi3. So all this is your dimensionless condition. So is that clear? Did I answer your questions? Nicholas, did I answer your question? Yep. But if you try all these questions, question 2 or 3, even though it's few, but believe me, all the questions I prepare is should be all rounded, right? It's all rounded. And just to highlight, in your question 1, the question didn't ask you to prove, but somehow in question 2, you need to use the formulas to calculate, right? So please go internet to check what is the final formulas for the lift coefficient. Okay, because the question A only asking you use to generate the equation for this, but it's not proven, it's not given anything. You know, there's nowhere for you to write the equation for that, right? So please go on internet to check it, where is the final format, and prove it, you can achieve that. And then use the formulas to calculate the B. Okay, I think that's all for my class for today. Any question? By the way, also this is group 1. Okay, it's fine. Because I don't know why MS Team recently I'm not able to download all the videos. I have no idea why. Right? Can you see that? Even though I'm recording, I have nowhere to download. This one is the last class, right? On the previous things, it's not able to download. And some of them are already download, so it's all right. In case I miss out anything, can you just post in the groups and request your peers to share as well? Yep, I think it's a server issue, right? So CLO4 only consists of chapter 5? Yes, exactly. So in your CLO4 is only chapter 5 using Buckingham-Pine theorems. So in your test 2, it will cover your chapter 4 and chapter 5. 2 questions, just like your test 1. Okay, so is that clear? Yep. If that's the case, perhaps I'll just leave you earlier. Normally I didn't drag long for solid class. Crystal clear, good. I love to hear that, right? But make sure you really clear on that, right? And make sure you try the questions, work on it, and then you can strengthen all these things. Because of course, when you listen to me, you know what to do. But to become your own knowledge, you need to make sure you try on that. Okay, good. And by the way, just to share it, right? If you got time, tomorrow there's an interesting workshop. I'm not sure you're all aware. Please make sure spend some time to attend that. There's some outsider. Can you see my screen? There's some outsiders to teach us on the origami technology. And this is a very interesting Kenneth. So he will have, do you got all this student list? They sent to all the students, right?
Don't know, sir. They spam so much we don't bother to check.
Anyway, just to highlight this, perhaps I just copy here. So if you got time tomorrow, right, please attend this as a support, please. Because he are going to deliver a very interesting technique, which I can see there's a future of engineer. So they are using the paper folding techniques for all the engineering matters, right? So what I mean that is, you know all the material, right? We use all the metals, all the things. But what this Kenneth experts will show you. It's not my friends, but I organize this anyway. I'm coordinate this anyway. I coordinate all these tea for thoughts. If you got time, just spend some time to go through it. Okay, because anyway, you are going to learn something from there. Okay, the key thing is, yep, don't worry, if you got time, just attend. Okay, I think that's all from me. Okay, got link, you just click on here. Just click on this, everything is there. Because in fact, it's my admins to do it, and it's my colleagues to design that. And you just register yourself and then they will send. And the link you can just directly. I will share the links to you as well. Maybe tomorrow I just post in the groups. Loading forever. Oops. Anyway, I will share the link in the group later, so it should be fine. Okay. Thank you very much. I think I will stop here. Any question?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So
Okay,
others?
sir.
Yep. If no, then we will stop here. Thank you very much. So download attendance.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day, and thank you for.
Yep, you too. And everyone, please stay safe, right? The condition is not really good. And it's surprised today, 8,000 plus, right? And yep, so thank you. And I will see you next week. Anyway, just try. I will share the links later on. Okay, thank you. I will leave now. Thank you, class.